Hello, Danny. Thanks for being with me today. So let's just get right into it. Do drivers really want to relinquish control of their vehicles? Especially considering driving is American pastime. What might entice those drivers to relinquish that control?
A lot of people obviously love driving, and the big question is, do people want to give up control for autonomous vehicles? I think people love driving, but people don't love every aspect of driving. And so think about if you're in a traffic jam, if there's a really long drive, you need to find parking. Those are kind of the aspects of the driving experience that people frankly do not like. And those are the first things we're going to see in terms of autonomous vehicles. We're working with Audi, for example. In 2017, there'll be a traffic jam assist. So using NVIDIA technology, the cars will be able to keep themselves in the lane, follow the lane markings, maintain a safe distance to the car in front, and start and stop in a traffic jam. Very cool. The next phase of that will be a highway pilot, and ultimately probably a city pilot. Being able to park, self-parking is something we've demonstrated as well. So you could actually get out of your vehicle, the car would drive itself, find a place to park, and then when you're done, you could retrieve the car back from where you left it. It would come and drive itself to you. So again, I think those kinds of scenarios are going to be things that will really enhance the overall experience without taking away too much control from people when they truly want to drive.
Right. I like that. Stemming off that, what is the future of digital auto tech, you believe? Where's the formula for creating infotainment that is helpful and not so much disturbing?
In the future, we're going to see a lot more screens in cars. Today, there's infotainment screens, there might be digital instrument clusters, there could be screens for the passengers. All of these screens require processing to create graphics, beautiful visuals, even something like you see behind me now. What we're doing is working with more screens, high resolution screens, to bring real-time and photoreal graphics to those screens. I think the key is, of course, to not create distracting experiences, but to be able to deliver a user experience that's intuitive and also very helpful. So if you look at things we've done, like with Audi's MMI system, where, again, you have Google Earth integrated into the mapping system, Street View, you can actually get a 360-degree view of your destination before you even start driving.
Yeah.
So that, in and of itself, really helps. You're not looking down at your phone, maybe, looking for a street number. You know exactly what you're looking for, the type of building. Maybe it's a red brick building with a yellow awning. So while you're driving, you know what you're looking for. Another example would be in Tesla's 17-inch touchscreen. Again, NVIDIA technology behind that. You have a really large screen. You have large buttons, large swipes you can make with the fingers. Again, focus is on giving you the information you want when you need it. And now virtual cockpits, like what's in Audi's new TT and the Q7. Again, right in the driver's line of sight, the critical information, and it's configurable. The driver can customize the kind of look and feel they want.
Oh, very cool. Nice. That's some really interesting technology, actually. Where do you see shared machine learning in the future? What scenarios arise these cars aren't able to solve? Also, security issues will probably arise if cars are able to speak to one another on the road. How can this also be mitigated?
So as we move from pure infotainment and navigation and cluster kinds of work into autonomous vehicles, NVIDIA technology is behind systems for deep learning. So using a deep neural net, we can train the car to understand its surroundings. So one of the demonstrations we have shows how the system can recognize the type of vehicle. Something like this is very important so that an autonomous vehicle, when it sees an emergency vehicle with lights flashing, it will pull over. But we can extend this much farther to be able to do everything from lane keeping to pedestrian detection to reading street signs, and even the deep neural network can be used for voice processing. So you have natural language processing. Now these systems will get smarter and smarter and smarter by the more training, the more information they're given. So initially we'll see some basic situations that they can handle, but the more video that's fed into the deep learning system, the more it's trained, the more it will be able to take on and handle virtually any driving situation. Our goal is to be able to have it understand not just the specific objects though, but be trained on the behavior. So an example would be a school bus. If you see a bus with the lights flashing, as a human, you know that there are children that are going to be getting off that bus and you're not allowed to cross the line of the vehicle, whether you're approaching from the front or the back. This system will know how to recognize those kinds of situations and will stop. If we see a car door that might be opening, the expectation is the car door will continue to open and someone will get out of the car. So again, the deep learning system can be trained those kinds of behaviors so that we don't end up hitting somebody getting out of the car.
Very interesting. So tell us about the Tigro Visual Computing Module that recently won the PACE Award. How can NVIDIA Drive computers make the claim that they are the world's most advanced systems for self-driving cars and digital cockpits?
So recently, NVIDIA won a PACE Award from Automotive News for the Tegra Visual Computing Module. So this is the module that is in the Tesla, that's in Audis, BMWs, Hondas, many other vehicles. This is basically becoming the brain of these cars. This is driving the infotainment systems, and now we've moved beyond this into a full computer system. The NVIDIA Drive CX is our cockpit computer, and again, this enables the running of many different apps. It supports different operating systems. Think of it along the lines of a PC, right? It's a modular system, but it's designed for the car. It's automotive grade.
Right.
It will run at minus 40 Celsius to 85 C. It supports different OSs. But the key thing is that each automaker is able to customize the experience for their brand and for their customers, as well as many times then customers themselves can actually change the look and feel of the product themselves. In addition, the Drive PX. This car computer is designed for autopiloting. This runs the deep neural network. And using the power of two Tegra X1 processors, each one over 1 teraflops, delivers more processing than anyone has ever delivered into the vehicle. Just the performance of one of these chips here is equivalent to the United States' fastest supercomputer in the year 2000.
Wow.
So that computer took up 1,600 square feet and required over 500,000 watts of power to deliver that level of performance. Here now we're delivering it the same level of performance in a chip that only consumes 10 watts.
Very cool. What do you foresee in automotive, autonomous vehicles in the next maybe 2 to 3 years? Do you have any?
Leveraging a lot of this technology, the next couple of years, we'll see cars on the road with autonomous features.
Yeah.
Autonomous prototypes are being worked on, obviously, but there's still a lot that has to happen, not just technologically, but within society. Legislative work that needs to go on, different government regulations and entities, as well as the driving laws need to be changed. But in the very near term, we're going to see a lot of autonomous modes of operation. Cars that will drive themselves in the traffic, cars that will drive themselves on the highway, and maybe self-parking. And eventually, though, we will get to fully autonomous.
And that's that's in the foreseeable future. Do you have? I have another question for you. Well, I don't know where it is, but globally, geographically, where do you see autonomous vehicles sort of making their major leap? As far as I've heard a lot about Europe, I've heard a lot about Asia. What are your thoughts?
We're working with automakers all over the world, in the US, in Germany, in Japan, but there is a good chance that outside the US we'll see them first available. And it really is going to depend on those regions and their governments and the regulators giving it their blessing. So it remains to be seen, but there's probably a good chance it will happen outside of the US first.
Perfect.
I know we're working on a project that will enable autonomous driving on the moon. So probably in a couple of years we'll see an autonomous vehicle. This is sponsored by Audi and NVIDIA and a team called Part-Time Scientists out of Germany. So that may be the first location.
Yeah, that's awesome. What was concerning this year now, as far as to step back a little bit, what was a key highlight in the industry that stood out to you as far as being a progression?
Well, I think in terms of what's happening now, a lot of the tests that are taking place are quite remarkable. Google has its fleet of self-driving cars in Mountain View. Recently, Audi had self-driving prototypes that they ran from Silicon Valley to Las Vegas, as well as autonomous vehicles that are driving on the track in Sonoma. So I think those are some pretty clear milestones that will hit and will continue to really move us forward on the path to autonomy.
Very cool. And just as a general question, how did you enjoy this year's Autonomous Cars event? And would you like to make any comments on certain things, certain areas that you may have stood out to you in your mind?
Again, I think the Autonomous Cars event has really brought together a lot of different people from different markets as well as different parts of the automotive industry together to really look at and tackle a lot of the problems facing the industry. There's certainly a lot of questions that we're still working on answering from the standpoint of the legislative side, from a security perspective. The technology is clearly moving forward very quickly and will certainly enable us to have autonomous vehicles in the very near future.
Well, thank you very much, Dan. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks a lot.
Pleasure meeting. Thank you.